Okay, ready? Boots and cats and 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 boots and cats. This looks kind of like a normal mic, but it is not a normal mic. In fact, I think I want to make this an episode of Weird Gear. So this is the doubler. It is from a company called Voclia, and it is a microphone that does something that I think a lot of producers have dreamed about for a long time, which is you can sing into it or beatbox into it, and it will convert that into MIDI notes, also MIDI notes, but MIDI notes for drums. Boots and cats. It's also got a few other tricks up its sleeve, so I'll show you everything about it in this video. We'll make a bunch of music with this. This video is sponsored by Voclia, so a huge thank you to them for supporting my channel. And of course, you know, I'm always interested in checking out innovative new music tech. So let's get into it. Yeah. So how doubler works is you've got this USB connector at the bottom of the mic, and you just plug that in, connect it to your computer, and then you load up this doubler application, which communicates with your DAW. I'm gonna go to the home screen, and here you can set up different profiles for how the mic behaves. So I'm gonna create a new one just to show you how it works. Let's start with the drums. I'm gonna add a new trigger. So we'll go to train, and after I click on this, I'll just make a few sounds that I wanna use as my kick drum sound. Add a new trigger, and then we can do the same thing for adding a hi-hat and a snare. And you can choose whether or not you want the volume of your voice to control the velocity of the drum MIDI notes. I found that I can add up to 5 triggers and have it work really well, and if you're an actually good beatboxer, really precise with being able to change between different kinds of sounds, you might even have better results than that. But for me, with like barely any beatboxing skill, 5 has been really good. So let's just add 2 more to this. So now as I use those 5 sounds, we can see this in action. All right, I got a solid bunch of patterns there, and for this genre of music, I'm just gonna quantize it so that everything's perfectly on beat. And now, why don't we add a bass line? Boom. All right, so a few things going on there that I gotta show you about. So first there's this stickiness control, and that just determines how easy it is to switch notes, because as you sing, there could be a little bit of wavering in your pitch, and if you wanna do really long sustained notes, you probably want a higher stickiness. There's an input level here, which is pretty easy to set. You can change the octave of the notes that doubler detects, so since I was doing a bass line, I set it to 1 octave down. We'll get into pitch bend later. Right now I have it to off so that the notes will just stay as, locked on pitches. No warbly wackiness. Now, as you can see here, I'm locked to B minor, and if we go to the key tab, you can set what key you want to use. There's also an auto key detect feature, which works really well, and chords, which we will also get into later. And another interesting thing that you heard me doing with the bass line is I was using the vowel that I was singing to control the filter cutoff. So you've got 3 vowels that doubler can detect up here, ah, e, and oo. Let me just show you. Ooh, ee, ah. Like, it just knows what vowel you're singing. And then envelope here just follows the volume of your voice. Hey, hey. Hey! Boop. And then if you go to the effects tab, those parameters are assignable as MIDI CC, and you can map that to your DAW or whatever instrument you're using. Because yeah, doubler doesn't just have to be a DAW tool. Because it's just sending MIDI data, any instrument that accepts MIDI can be controlled by all of these functions. One thing with the singing is you do have to sing in a certain way, because if you just sing normally, it won't often exactly pick up the melody that you want, because as humans naturally sing, there's a lot of kind of swooping in our voices. You know, we don't have these robotic pitches that we hit. So you do have to do kind of like shorter and more accurate notes, I find. Na 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 ba 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 ba. So really quick quick and easy to try out and lay down ideas with this. I would say especially if you're not a keyboard player, so you can't be as proficient with a MIDI controller, this just gives you like a direct line from yourself to MIDI data. I especially like it for drums because, you know, I can play the drum kit, I can play drum pads, I can program drums, but there's something so natural and intuitive about having a connection like this where you can just So that's the chord mode I was just using, which is super fun and easy. You just click it on, and then when you're singing, instead of just producing one MIDI note, it treats the note you sing as the root note of a chord from the key that you have selected. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is having pitch bend active, and here's where it gets pretty intense. So it's really going to depend on what your singing skill is like, but it'll track as you kind of scoop notes, as you bend notes, and it'll try and intelligently decide when to change notes versus when to bend with the current note that you have on. So definitely an advanced mode, but singers with really good control could take so much advantage of this. It really does reveal your pitchiness, but that also means it captures so much nuance about those kinds of pitch bends. Like some of this stuff, I mean, it just sounds human, right? Like that almost sounds like it could have been my voice just through some distortion and reverb, but it's just MIDI controlling a synthesizer. It's just a flute patch on phase plant. It's completely digital, but in the MIDI pitch bend information, we've captured these completely human expressions. And in my case, being a bit of a pitchy singer, I would just reset to 0 all the spots in the MIDI line where I don't want any pitch bending to happen. That's today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks again to Voclia. They're linked in the description. I'm really excited to see how they continue to develop this tool. I'll see you next time.